It's like traveling on the back of a serpent with undulations and back and forth.
It's very bumpy.
As you drive it, you kind of go over these, we call them whoop-de-doos.
It might sound like a roller coaster, but there's nothing fun about Last Chance Grade.
You're wondering if this is your last drive, and that's why it's been nicknamed Last Chance Grade. This is your last chance to turn around.
Twists and turns, courtesy of the complex earth flow and landslide terrain, moving under the asphalt and straining against at least a dozen retainer walls.
So we've just been kind of clinging to this hillside for, over a century now, trying to maintain a road.
In 2014, Last Chance Grade was reduced to just one lane. Then, in 2021, the Valentine's Day slide completely closed the stretch of highway for days. It finally reopened to two-way traffic in 2023. And that's not a particularly uncommon occurrence on this critical stretch of highway connecting far north California to the rest of the state.
This highway is a lifeline. Someone who lives in Klamath will go to Crescent City for maybe their job, taking their kids to school, access to healthcare, groceries. So when it's out, just the impacts it has on those people is just so huge.
A huge problem requiring a major fix. A tunnel replacing 3 miles of highway, estimated at $2 billion.
We're uniquely isolated here. Roads are just extremely important to small rural areas like us.
Alexander Family Farm is on the north side of Crescent City and just about 15 miles south of the Oregon border.
Del Norte is, we're in California, but it's certainly more like an Oregon or Washington coastal city or town. We look more like New Zealand or Ireland than anywhere in the United States. It's great for cows and those of us that work with cows.
Every week, about 55 milk trucks make trips from the farm down Last Chance Grade to deliver dairy products across California.
When it's closed, it's an extra 4 or 5 hours one way just to get over.
It's lost time and money, and sometimes it's even a matter of life and death.
So we'll take patients to Eureka, Sacramento, Redding, Red Bluff. We're just kind of going everywhere.
And to get to any of those places, first responders in Crescent City first have to go through Last Chance Grade. Complete or partial closures can mean wasted, precious minutes.
Delaying time, so if someone's bleeding uncontrollably and then we don't get there soon enough, at that point they're gonna start to go into shock and it won't be good.
There's stories of during closures where the local blood bank, for example, they would drive up to either side of the slide and someone would literally get out with a box, walk it, and it would get literally handed over.
The alternative? A 400-mile detour up 101, across 199 through Oregon to Interstate 5, and back down to California.
Can't even call it a detour at some point. It's just not realistic anymore.
If we don't have that connectivity, we are bisected as a county. You might as well carve off that end of the county and put it into Humboldt.
For decades, Caltrans has used every trick of the trade just to try and keep these 3 miles drivable.
This is one of the mini retaining walls for Last Chance Grade, trying to keep the highway above from slipping down into the ocean. And actually where I'm standing right now is what Caltrans workers say the road would look like if it weren't for this wall. You can see these cracks, there's dips in it. I mean, the road itself is already very bumpy, but it could be a lot worse.
The failure surface just behind us is 270 feet below us in elevation. So we're basically just trying to knit the roadway, the prism as we call it, just kind of keep it intact as best we're able as the whole thing just moves seaward.
There's multiple nested slides within the larger slide, and this is a fault of one of them. And this component here you can see is the fault itself. And so we had to build this expandable lagging portion so that as these walls move independent of each other, they don't break each other apart.
But like other fixes, this too will eventually fail, and it could be catastrophic, which is why engineers are now taking a different route. The proposed tunnel will dip down below the shifting earth in the majestic old-growth redwoods, designated as a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
A lot of people are like, well, why don't you just move it inland? It's well, we considered that. I think we probably had 14 different alternatives, but then it was just, the impacts were even greater and the cost was even more than the tunnel, which is pretty staggering.
If you just look around, like, it really is so unique. It's a special place that we're just really trying our best to come up with a solution that minimizes the impacts.
Right now, Caltrans workers are drilling along the alignment of the proposed tunnel, taking samples of the rock deep below the surface so they know the best way to construct the tunnel. And construction is scheduled to start in 2030. Caltrans is yet to identify how they'll pay for the $2 billion project, but community leaders say they'll leave no stone unturned.
So it is our obligation to the community that we have a safe route to stay connected to the state of California. And until California says they don't want Del Norte County as part of the state, we'll continue to advocate for that connectivity.